When my eldest sister disguised herself as a man, she once made two close friends. After learning she was a woman, both friends came to propose marriage. My eldest sister was torn, unwilling to disappoint either. My elder brother suggested drawing lots. One would marry her, the other would be betrothed to me. In my past life, Wei Ling drew me, forcing a smile and saying, "The second young lady is also fine." But after marriage, he couldn't help comparing me to my eldest sister, resenting my lack of talent and my inability to understand his grand ambitions. He grew weary of my delicate and affected nature, unable to endure hardship or ride alongside him to fulfill our dreams. Therefore, when my elder brother proposed drawing lots again, I shook my head and refused. "I have already agreed to enter the palace for this election," father said. My eldest sister frowned, abruptly slammed the table, and stood up. "Did father force you to enter the palace for this election?" I gently shook my head. It was my choice. After mother passed away, my eldest sister and father grew distant. With my elder brother backing her, father couldn't control the willful, unrestrained eldest sister, so he could only keep a tight grip on me, the youngest. In my past life, when father proposed that I enter the palace for this election, I was unwilling. Coincidentally, my eldest sister's two friends came to propose marriage. One was a son of a noble family, the other a young general. Both truly admired my elder sister. My elder sister was torn, unable to bear letting either down. My elder brother stepped in to break the deadlock. "I have another sister named Guy, who resembles my eldest sister in appearance and is also of marriageable age. Why not settle it by drawing lots? One would marry my eldest sister, the other would wed the younger." Without giving it much thought, I agreed, relieved that father wouldn't force me to enter the palace. In my past life, Wei Ling drew me. His smile strained. "The second young lady is fine too." Only later did I realize those words were meant to comfort himself, not me. After the wedding, he never mistreated me, but he often compared me to my elder sister. Whenever his career stumbled or his ambitions went unfulfilled, he would lock himself in the study to drink. Once, I made hangover soup and took it to him, staying by his side all night to tend to him. But when he woke from his drunken stupor and looked at me, at my eyes so similar to my elder sister's, his face was filled with desolation and regret. If it were Guerong, she would surely understand my heart and share my burdens. I clenched my fists, feeling utterly humiliated. He glanced down at the teacup, his tone indifferent. "These menial tasks can be handled by the servants. No need for you to trouble yourself." It was from that day onward that my heart grew completely cold, and I ceased to meddle in any of his affairs. We treated each other with courtesy, and thus passed 2 uneventful years. Until Wei Ling suddenly requested an order to head south to suppress bandits. Only after everything was settled did he inform me, leaving just half a day to pack. I had no choice but to hastily accompany him out of the capital. The journey was bumpy, and I gritted my teeth, holding on until we reached Jiangnan. In early summer, with misty rain veiling the scenery, I slipped the moment I stepped off the carriage. A warm, dark current suddenly descended. I lifted my skirt to find it drenched in shocking crimson. My child was gone, just like that. Wei Ling looked exhausted, rubbing his brow as his tone carried a hint of reproach. "You should have told me sooner." This was the first time I had lost my temper since marrying him. "Sooner? Did you ever consult me even once in this matter? I hadn't seen you even once in these past 2 months. You accepted the imperial decree to go south and only left me half a day to pack. On the road, you complained that the carriage was too slow and hindered our journey, so you went ahead alone." My voice was cold, every word dripping with blood. Even if I had countless sufferings, to whom could I tell them? The room was dead silent. Wei Ling's lips moved slightly, and finally, he softly admitted his mistake. He took my cold hand and comforted me gently. "Take good care of your health. There will be other children." Later, I did successfully give birth to a child. But that year, floods ravaged, plagues spread, the city was locked down, and food was scarce. After childbirth, I had no chance to recuperate, which completely damaged my foundation, and from then on I was bedridden. On the child's first birthday, Wei Ling's friends came to the banquet. That night, he got drunk and poured out his grievances. My wife was raised in the inner chamber since childhood. Ultimately too delicate, unable to endure even the slightest bump. His eldest sister, Rong, had practiced martial arts since youth and had a strong physique. If it were her, even pregnant, she could ride a horse freely. How could she have ruined her health? The friends beside him repeatedly signaled him to stop, but he only finished speaking before suddenly turning around. I stood at the door, neither questioning nor arguing, and quietly turned to leave. The next day, I presented the divorce papers. Wei Ling initially refused, saying last night's words were spoken in drunkenness and shouldn't be taken seriously. Seeing my determined attitude, he then repented and swore vows. But hardship doesn't come overnight, and a heart doesn't grow cold in an instant. After a long stalemate, Wei Ling finally relented. On the day I moved out of the mansion, he came to see me off. Gazing at my pale and frail face, he sighed with melancholy. Perhaps we should never have settled for each other in the first place. He was right. And so, on this day when my elder brother proposed drawing lots to decide the marriage, I shook my head and refused. I have already agreed to father to enter the palace. In this life, I will not marry him. I walked out of the main hall. My elder sister, puzzled, left the crowd and caught up with me. Did father say something to you? Don't be fooled by his sweet talk. The palace is a devouring place. Once you go in, you'll never come out for a lifetime. Her voice was anxious, genuinely concerned for me. I stopped and turned back, my tone calm. Elder sister, everyone seeks something different. You delight in unrestrained freedom. I crave wealth and honor. I've made up my mind. I will enter the palace. My elder sister stood frozen in place, staring at my retreating figure, long lost in thought. She could not understand the choice I had made. My mother died in childbirth when I was born, and I never got to see her face, only heard that she was a female general who shook the court and the country. Back then, my elder brother practiced swordsmanship, and my elder sister clumsily followed behind him, holding a small wooden branch, imitating his moves. When my brother practiced archery on horseback, my mother would hold my elder sister in her arms and gallop with her, their crisp laughter echoing across the training ground. At night, my elder sister would nestle against my mother, listening to her stories of past glories before falling asleep. What a beautiful time that was. But then I was born and my mother died. In the name of a fetus, I slowly devoured her life, taking away their joy along with it. As a young child, I didn't understand any of this. Even though they kept their distance, I still naively chased after my elder sister, longing for her affection. As time passed, my elder sister softened a little and offered to teach me martial arts. But my body was too weak. After just one day in the wind, I had a high fever that wouldn't go down that night. My father called my elder sister over and scolded her. With her fiery temper, she argued back on the spot. Father disapproves of women practicing martial arts, probably because he was overshadowed by mother in the military back then. Father slammed the table in rage. Defiant daughter, stop talking nonsense. Elder sister sneered. Whether it's nonsense or not, father knows in his heart. In his fury, father was about to enforce family discipline, but elder brother rushed over and shielded elder sister behind him. If father wants to punish Guerrong, then punish me as well. Elder brother was father's only legitimate son, and father couldn't bear to do it. From that day on, the household split into two factions. Elder sister and elder brother united against father, while I was silently assigned to father's side. After that, elder sister still rode out of the residence, practiced martial arts, made friends, and lived freely. Only I was confined to the women's quarters, spending my days with the chain and embroidery, strictly adhering to etiquette, step by step, constrained. According to the old servants around mother, elder sister fully inherited mother's spirit, while I, the child mother traded her life for, was the least like her. I gazed at myself in the bronze mirror again and again. Clearly, my features resembled elder sister's, yet how could I not be like mother at all? After hearing those words, I began to frequently emulate my eldest sister, trying to live in her image to prove myself. But when I changed into men's clothing and left the house, my elder brother scolded coldly, "Be more proper and stop causing trouble for Guerrong." My father was even more dissatisfied, saying, "Don't imitate your eldest sister. Wearing men's clothes every day without any hint of a proper lady's demeanor. What kind of behavior is that?" At that time, I saw my eldest sister as my role model. I firmly believed that she was the best way to live, until I was trapped in marriage for 10 years and finally woke up completely. There are countless ways to live in this world. My eldest sister's free-spirited and unrestrained life is her choice. She has her pursuits, and I should have my own thoughts. I, Shingi, am delicate and noble, unable to withstand storms or endure hardship. I deserve the life of luxury and fine clothes. Thus, I agreed to my father's plan to enter the palace for this election. In the evening, my elder brother came to my courtyard. He said that after I left, the scene was somewhat awkward, and he scolded me for directly making people lose face. He also explained that among the prominent families I was supposed to meet for potential matches at my age were precisely the two who came seeking marriage today. Both were outstanding and exceptional, the candidates he had already chosen as suitable brothers-in-law. No matter whom I marry, it is by no means a grievance. I lowered my head, feeling drowsy from listening, and softly retorted, "If you like her so much, elder brother, then you marry her yourself." Elder brother choked at my words, the lecturing expression on his face instantly freezing. I glanced at the cherry cakes he brought, one serving for eldest sister and one for me. It seemed fair and thorough, as if balancing the scales evenly. But I have never liked cherry cakes, just like the red dresses, fox fur coats, and so on that he gave over the years. All were things eldest sister favored. When preparing gifts for her, he remembered he also had a younger sister and added another share. After all, it's not like the shopkeeper would offer a buy one get one free deal. I took out the box I had stored and pushed it back in front of elder brother, along with the cherry cakes on the table. Elder brother was taken aback. Remembering an oversight, I added, "And the little pony you gave me a few years back has been stabled for a long time. Take it with you as well." He looked incredulous. "Gue-e, are you trying to draw a line between us?" I gently shook my head. No. Before I simply imitated my elder sister, without any of my own preferences. Now I have come to understand, so I wish to tell my elder brother. All these things my elder sister likes, I do not like. The evening wind brushes past the window, leaves rustling. My elder brother was silent for a long time. "If it's just dissatisfaction with the lottery assignment for marriage, you can choose first. I'll speak to Gue-rong. She will surely agree. You've said so much." He still thinks I'm making a scene because I felt wronged by the marriage arrangement, so he generously says I can choose first. I don't want to listen any longer. I stood up to see the guest out, my attitude unwavering. No need to persuade me further. My decision to enter the palace is firm. You think of entering the palace? Do you know what kind of person the emperor is? My elder brother suppressed his anxiety. In 7 days, the emperor will go to Guoqing Temple to pray. I will find a way for you to meet him. If then you regret it, it's still not too late. In the following days, my elder sister's 2 close friends came to court her without fail, and she was quite troubled. In the past, she disguised herself as a man and was a classmate with the 2 at the academy. The 3 addressed each other as brothers, with deep friendship. But now, she must choose one among them. I went to the study to find my father, but happened to catch sight of my elder sister speaking with Wei Ling under the corridor. My elder sister gave a bitter smile. "It's really hard for me to choose. If I could, I'd split myself in 2. A hint of sympathy flickered in Wei Ling's eyes, and he casually mentioned, "Why isn't the second miss here?" My elder sister sighed softly. "Father has brought in a governess from the palace to teach her. Guy is probably learning her etiquette right now." Wei Ling said quietly, "The palace has many rules. Once the second miss goes there, she might not be seen for years. Rather than marrying into the royal family, it would be better to choose a family of equal standing. If disputes arise, she would still have her family to back her up." My elder sister understood his meaning. She looked up and probed, "You don't mean to say?" Wei Ling admitted frankly, "I don't want to see you troubled. Marrying the second miss would be an excellent solution. But the second miss does not see marrying you as a good thing." I stepped out openly. "Every word you, Master Wei, speak is for my elder sister's benefit. You willingly yield and compromise. Why should I have to settle for that too? I, Shingi, have never been your second best option." Wei Ling frowned and defended himself. "I was merely offering a solution that benefits both sides." I did not mean to slight the second Mississippi. I can offer a more thorough solution. I interrupted him. The eldest sister can't marry two families, but she can bring two young masters into the household. If young Master Wei is willing to marry into the family, even if young Master Pei is hard to persuade, I will do my utmost to convince him. If young Master Pei refuses, then so much the better. Congratulations, Wei Ling. You will have our eldest sister all to yourself. As the words fell, their expressions changed drastically. The eldest sister's eyes flickered, as if somewhat tempted. Wei Ling's face turned ashen, deeply humiliated. I caught sight of it and let out a sneer. What's the matter? Aren't you willing to make sacrifices and yield? Why won't you accept such a good solution? It seems your feelings for our eldest sister aren't that deep after all. With that, I didn't linger and turned to leave. Passing through the corridor, I reached my father's study. Nanny Yang saw me enter and said warmly, I was once fortunate enough to meet General Liu. The second young miss truly takes after Lord Liu. She called Mother General Liu instead of Madam Shin, showing that Mother had truly earned recognition from many and left her mark in history, yet she passed away quietly because of me. I lowered my eyes. Everyone said my eldest sister resembled Mother the most, but Nanny Yang shook her head. The eldest young lady is indecisive and overcautious, more like Lord Shin. On the contrary, the second young lady's temperament is a perfect match for General Liu's. In my past life, I would have done anything for such praise. Now that I have it, there isn't a single ripple in my heart. Seizing the opportunity, I asked, if it were you, Nanny, what choice would you make? Nanny Yang did not answer. Instead, she brought up old matters. General Liu had no shortage of suitors back then. Lord Shin wasn't the first to appear, nor was he the best, but he was the one who considered General Liu's interests the most. I understood the implication. Neither of these close friends was suitable for my eldest sister. What they really thought about was how to win the beauty for themselves. I don't want my eldest sister to hastily choose Pei Fong because Wei Ling voluntarily stepped aside and then muddle through her life. Marriage is fundamentally a huge gamble. I hope she'll take more time to think it over, slowly figure out what she truly wants. A light cough came from the study. What are you still doing standing outside? Come in quickly. If you don't speak up soon, all his secrets will be exposed. This time he summoned me to the study to hand over Mother's dowry from back then. I opened the ledger, and all the assets and items had already been divided into 2 equal portions. Father, add a bit more for eldest sister. Father looked bewildered and instinctively flared up. What has that rebellious daughter done now? Mother had been gone for many years, and father never remarried. Even though he disapproved of eldest sister practicing martial arts, constantly calling her that rebellious daughter and scolding her for wearing men's clothes and lacking feminine grace, he never truly stopped her. If Wei Ling comes around, eldest sister will need to bring in a husband. If Pei Fong also comes around, eldest sister will need to bring in 2. In either case, our family assets are still a bit thin. I straightened the teacup that father had accidentally knocked over and said, just think of it as you've lost one rebellious daughter and gained a good son. My words quickly reached the Wei and Pei mansions. Both families fell silent. Just when they were both about to come to propose marriage, they both gave up. Suddenly word spread in the capital that the emperor intended to make the second Miss Shun his empress. For a time, there were countless invitations. In the past, without the mistress of the household to host social engagements, my elder sister and I seldom attended banquets. Now, with the situation as it is, there was simply no avoiding it. We had no choice but to reluctantly attend a few events. Regardless of past acquaintance, every lady I met greeted me with overwhelming warmth and enthusiasm. The event hosted today was mostly attended by ladies of the inner chambers. At first, my elder sister stepped forward to chat and make small talk with the others, but within moments, her smile visibly faded. I drew closer and listened for a while before understanding the reason. Lady Li was complaining to her close friends. Her husband had recently taken a famous courtesan home from a pleasure house and doted on her daily, leaving her, the lawful wife, neglected. Lady Wang slammed the table in anger, urging her to take drastic measures and get rid of the courtesan outright. Lady Tang, who was pregnant, found such private, sordid matters unbearable, so she quickly changed the subject, asking everyone for tips on conceiving a son. My elder sister excused herself on the pretext of feeling unwell, came out, and stared at me dazedly, her voice trembling. They are so. She had read so many books, yet at that moment, she couldn't find the words. Recalling the ladies I met earlier, Lady Li had a radiant appearance and graceful figure. Lady Wang came from a military family and was skilled in horsemanship. Lady Tang was well-read, gentle, and kind. Yet, when such remarkable women gather, they never talk about themselves. Listening to them, in fact, makes one feel uncomfortable. Elder sister's eyes were full of confusion. If I were to marry someday, would I end up like them? I remained silent. In my past life, elder sister and I both married, each confined to our own corner of a household, meeting rarely. In the letters we exchanged, she never complained, but there was no hint of joy either. I suspect it was much the same. The emperor went to Guoqing Temple to pray for blessings. Aside from civil and military officials, 2 ladies with noble titles were also accompanying him. Elder brother arranged for elder sister and me to walk alongside these 2 ladies. When they saw us, both were emotional. Time flies. General Lu's children are already this grown. One of them was a few years older than our mother and was already a grandmother, having been out of worldly affairs for a long time. The other was about the same age as our mother and had just returned to the capital recently. She looked at elder sister, her eyes filled with nostalgia. Back when your mother returned triumphantly to the capital, I even went to the city gate to welcome her. My elder sister's eyes lit up, and she quickly leaned in to inquire about those past events. After arriving at Guoqing Temple, worn out from the journey, the 2 ladies first returned to their rooms to rest. My elder brother specially came to warn me that the eastern courtyard was the emperor's residence, and I must never approach it without permission. He said he would take me there once he found the right opportunity. But in the evening, a young eunuch suddenly arrived, stating that a nimble woman had broken into the emperor's chambers and disturbed his majesty. The maids exchanged glances, all falling silent. No one dared to admit it, and the situation reached a deadlock. The officials outside rushed over upon hearing the commotion, among them Wei Ling. When he heard the words nimble woman, his expression changed drastically. He immediately stepped forward and took full responsibility. She had a dispute with me, which caused her to lose composure and disturb your majesty. If your majesty wishes to punish someone, you may punish only me. The eunuch who had come to find the person swept a glance at him and said, Your majesty only ordered this servant to bring back that woman. Wei Ling's throat tightened. He turned around and looked at each person in turn, his gaze finally landing on me. The eunuch understood clearly. Miss Shun, please come with me. I had been waiting for my elder brother to send word, never once stepping out of my room, let alone barging into the emperor's chambers. This matter has nothing to do with me. I will not falsely confess to a crime I did not commit. Wei Ling changed his story at this point, which only made it seem like he was shielding me. The situation deadlocked once again. I looked up at my elder brother, signaling him to testify for me. The moment our eyes met across the room, I clearly saw a flicker of struggle in his gaze. His hand at his side tightened imperceptibly, yet in the end, he looked away and said nothing. I was stunned for a moment. It dawned on me belatedly that my elder sister was not present. Both Wei Ling and my brother thought the emperor was looking for her. So one used me as a substitute, and the other remained silent. Though I had always known my brother favored my elder sister, when it came down to this moment, my heart still felt suddenly hollow, as if I had been shattered all over, unsure how to react. But what followed was a sense of relief. I stepped forward 2 paces. Eunuch, I will go with you. The crowd dispersed, and a tightly shut door finally opened. My eldest sister had changed into a crisp set of men's clothes at some point, her dark hair tied up, her posture sharp and spirited. She strode quickly to her brother, raised her hand in a mock sword-drawing gesture, her eyes full of excitement. Brother, look at me. Doesn't this outfit remind you of mother? Where were you just now? My brother's pupils contracted, his face turning pale. My eldest sister blinked. I was in Grandmother Ho's courtyard. I secretly prepared a set of men's clothes. When Grandmother Ho saw me, she even said I looked exactly like mother back in the day. Oh, by the way, I heard a lot of commotion outside just now, and a crowd of people came. Did something happen? My brother stood frozen, his gaze fixed straight ahead in the direction she had come from, his lips trembling but unable to form a single word. The summer night's weather was unpredictable. A sudden downpour poured down. I couldn't dodge in time, and all my clothes were soaked through. To appear before the emperor in such a state would be too disrespectful, so I had to find an empty side room nearby to take shelter. I changed into a monk's robe that had been prepared in the room, waiting for the eunuch to bring clean clothes. I never expected that before that Weiling would arrive first. He locked the door, trapping me in the room. I will go to His Majesty to confess my guilt, ensuring this matter does not fall upon the second miss. I never knew he could be so fickle, first accusing me wrongly, then changing his tune. I never once thought of taking on this baseless charge. Going to see the emperor is about the selection for the imperial concubines. I ordered him to open the door. Weiling's voice was cold and deep, full of opposition. The second miss insists on entering the palace, but have you ever known the Son of Heaven? The late emperor died early from illness. The current Son of Heaven ascended the throne at 7, drove the Empress Dowager mad at 15 to seize power, and at 17 personally killed his childhood sweetheart, a consort. With such methods, even children in the folk dare not cry when hearing his name. The noble daughters of wealthy families go out of their way to avoid him, but I know what kind of person he truly is. In my past life, after divorcing Wei Ling, I found a place at the foot of a mountain and bought an estate. Later, feeling it too lonely, I adopted many homeless children. One day, a young gentleman came to visit with a modest gift. He claimed to be a new neighbor, and I believed him, receiving him with sincerity. Seeing his interest in the children, I warmly invited him to lend a hand, bathing a few newly arrived little boys. Most of the abandoned ones were girls, and the manor was mostly filled with women. Before we had time to hire a servant boy, he arrived. I only found out later. On the mountain was the imperial summer palace. The Son of Heaven had come to escape the heat and accidentally discovered this estate, filled entirely with young girls and women. At first, he thought that under the very nose of the emperor, there could be such audacious kidnappers, and he came personally in anger to investigate. He had come to kill me, but I was completely unaware. Cheerfully, I had the supreme ruler spend an entire afternoon playing with children. When we parted, I warmly invited him to come again often, and he actually did, several times. Each time, I dragged him into frolicking with the kids. Under such a misunderstanding, I was still safe and sound. How could he be the ruthless, merciless emperor that the world spoke of? Wei Ling had locked the door from inside. Unable to leave through the front, I had to climb out the window to escape. Wearing an ill-fitting monk's robe was truly embarrassing. As I landed, the stray cat sheltering from the rain in the corner was startled. It shook itself, splattering all the rainwater from its fur onto me. Seeing it was about to run off, I reached out and scooped it back. Little thing, why are you bullying me too? I pressed down on its soft body, burying my face and rubbing it vigorously, most of the pent-up frustration in my heart dissipating. As soon as I let go, it slipped away and darted behind me. I turned to look, and my gaze suddenly froze. In the curtain of rain stood an umbrella, beneath it a figure. The cat that had just escaped was crouched at his feet, looking up and meowing in alternating high and low tones, as if crying and complaining. The edge of the umbrella slowly lifted. Our eyes met. It was the reigning emperor, Xiao Jingran. My heart skipped a beat. Why did he have to see me in such a disheveled state? I quickly stepped forward, scooped up the cat, and sidled under the emperor's umbrella. Seeing this, the eunuch attendant in the distance shrank his pupils and was about to step forward to scold me, but was stopped by a raised hand. I lifted my face with a smile, held up the cat's 2 front paws, revealing its soft belly. Your Majesty, would you like to try? I had just checked. It was well cared for at the temple, frequently fed, which is why it's so familiar with people. Its fur is smooth and glossy, very pleasant to touch. Xiao Jingran reached out, mimicking my earlier gesture, and gently traced a circle on the cat's belly with his fingertips. The delicate, fluffy texture lingered on his fingers, warm and lasting. Soon he lifted his hand again, as if addicted. And so, we took turns petting the cat for an hour. I didn't speak, and neither did he. When it was time to part, Xiao Jingran's eyes flickered. Suddenly, he asked, "Do you want to be Empress?" Without thinking, I replied, Can I? We had only met a few times in our past life. I had noticed that Xiao Jingran favored pure, untroubled creatures. Innocent children were one, and gentle, docile cats were another. Ever since he ascended the throne at 7, he had been surrounded by sycophants and those with hidden ambitions. Even now, with his imperial power firmly established, he had never truly trusted anyone in his heart. Only in the presence of beings with no scheming at all could he shed the heavy shackles. Thinking carefully now, he was barely past his 20s. I had never hoped that Xiao Jingran would grow fond of me. As long as he felt relaxed and at ease when with me, that was enough. The word love was too difficult. Weiling was so devoted to the eldest sister, yet in the end he still prioritized his own interests. How much more so for an emperor who sits on the throne and places the realm and power above all else. To speak of love with the imperial family is far too naive. After returning from Guiqing Temple, the eldest sister quietly left home. She left without a sound, bidding farewell to no one, only leaving a letter for our elder brother. Brother, I have felt adrift lately. You practice martial arts and study to earn official rank and serve the country. But what about me? I also wish to be like Mother, a woman of achievement. I know that what I have learned so far is merely superficial and insufficient for great responsibilities. Thus I have decided to leave home and gain experience through adventure. I hope you, brother, will not blame me. After reading the letter, our elder brother immediately wanted to dispatch household staff to bring the eldest sister back. Father let out a long sigh. He stopped him. Let her go. From the day she insisted on learning martial arts, I already foresaw this day. Since losing his wife, he did not hope for his children to soar to great heights. His simplest wish deep down was for the family to be safe, well, and worry-free. But since the eldest sister had lofty ambitions, he would not stop her. My elder brother's worries did not lessen. But can Guerong endure the hardships of the outside world? A woman like her, wandering alone, will she still be able to marry into a good family in the future? Father was silent for a moment. If she can't marry out, we'll just find her a husband to take her in. When I next went to Father's study, I noticed that a small wooden box on the corner of the table was gone. In my previous life, I had opened it and seen that it was filled with ointments for bruises and sprains. When I was young, my eldest sister often got hurt practicing martial arts, and Father would secretly go to see her. Father followed my gaze and said with a nostalgic tone, "Back in the army, your mother always hid her injuries. Over time, I learned some medical skills. A woman who practices martial arts endures far more hardships than a man. The path your mother chose back then was something she willingly took, but that doesn't mean you sisters have to follow in her footsteps." The peaceful days flowed by like water, and soon the day of entering the palace arrived. My elder brother, who had been full of guilt and deliberately avoiding me these past few days, finally appeared today. He had prepared a cartload of gifts, as if trying to make up for all the debts of these years. I specifically asked Father and made purchases little by little according to Guy's preferences. He lowered his eyes and apologized. That day I was wrong. I was too anxious about Guerong and lost my reason for a moment. In any case, I owe you this. If you encounter any difficulties after entering the palace, just write a letter and send it out, and I will take care of it for you. I stood still in place and did not respond. I had long since accepted that my elder brother favored my elder sister. His actions could no longer hurt me in the slightest. In the past, I tossed and turned in sorrow over this, but it was only because I had placed too many unrealistic expectations on him. Xiao Jingran was not fond of beauties. His harem had only 3 consorts. Consort and was 2 years older than the emperor. In her early years, she was originally a maidservant in the Empress Dowager's palace, from a simple and pure family background, and was also the first to accompany the emperor. After the Empress Dowager went mad, she confined herself to her quarters for rest and rarely appeared. Consort Liu was the legitimate daughter of the Grand Tutor. In the past, she had a deep friendship with the Empress Dowager's niece. After witnessing the emperor kill her with his own hands that year, she was greatly frightened and has since fallen into a condition of muteness. Among the 3, only Consort Liang remained as usual. She was the only candidate selected from the previous round of draft. When she summoned me, she was gnawing on a pig's trotter. Seeing me enter, her mouth was stuffed full, and she waved at me indistinctly. "Come, Sit down quickly. There will finally be new people in the palace. She blinked her round, big eyes. Everyone in the palace says His Majesty intends you to be the Empress. From now on, the trivial matters of the palace won't need me to handle anymore, right? As she spoke, her cheeks puffed in and out. I couldn't help but reach out and gently pinch her cheek. Consort Liang paused in her movements, stunned for a moment before mumbling. Why are you just like His Majesty? Both love pinching my face. No wonder His Majesty wants to make you Empress. I couldn't help but let out a low laugh, my heart feeling much lighter. I thought that life in the palace wouldn't be so unbearable after all. During these days of the selection, I had seen Xiao Jingran twice. The first time, he came privately and asked if I was adapting to life in the palace. I replied that everything was fine. Looking up, I saw the undeniable weariness in his eyes, so I lit a calming incense and massaged his acupoints to relieve his stress. The second time was in the selection hall, where Xiao Jingran and Consort Liang received all the candidates. He rose and walked straight from the throne to me without any hesitation, firmly placing the jade rui before me. Apart from that, he made no other selections. In this imperial selection, he had chosen only one empress for himself. The wedding date was set 6 months later, and I returned from the palace to my family home to await marriage. I began to inventory the dowry left by my mother. Among them, 2 ready-made clothing shops had been operating at a loss for years, with long-standing deficits. I personally went to audit the accounts. There were no obvious problems in the shops, but they were deserted and sparsely visited. Not a single customer came all day. So I came up with a tactic, set up a stall at the entrance, and give away leftover scraps of fabric to passing women for tying their hair or braiding buns. In this way, many women were willing to come into the shop to look at the cloth. While I was busy with this, someone from the Wei Mansion suddenly arrived. Miss Shin, please save our young master. That day, the one who broke into the Emperor's chamber was not a woman, but a short man disguised as a woman. After the truth was uncovered, Wei Ling was also punished. After being carried back to the mansion, he had a persistent high fever and, to this day, remains ill in bed. The steward said that he was delirious and kept calling out Miss Shin's name. I shook my head. I had no idea where my elder sister was or when she would return, so there was nothing I could do to help. The steward was stunned for a moment. He then bowed low and kowtowed, his voice trembling. What the young master called out wasn't first miss, but second Mississippi. I paused. I found it somewhat ridiculous and had no intention of bothering with it. But the Wei Mansion steward kowtowed desperately, and I finally relented, agreeing to go with him to the Wei Mansion. In just over a month, Wei Ling had become gaunt beyond recognition, lying ill in bed. He couldn't even sit up on his own. He opened his eyes. When he saw that it was me, he perked up a bit. Have you ever had a dream? I didn't reply. His smile was bitter. In the dream, following my elder brother's suggestion, we drew lots for marriage. I happened to draw yours, and we became husband and wife. At first, we were quite loving, until my negligence caused you to lose the child. Speaking of this, his voice grew hoarse. He coughed for a long while before continuing. Ever since I returned from the temple, I have been having this dream over and over. This must be a sign from heaven. Gi, I truly want to marry you as my wife. I will definitely respect you, love you, and put you first in everything. I sneered coldly. This was clearly a warning to me, telling me never to marry you. Of course, I truly had no desire to marry you either. Wei Ling's gaze suddenly lost focus, as if his soul had been drained away, leaving only an empty shell. As if I hadn't noticed, I silently added one more sentence. Elder sister thought so too. This final verdict completely crushed the last remnants of obsession and support deep in Wei Ling's heart. He utterly collapsed. The spark of life in his eyes faded inch by inch, and even the will to live vanished without a trace in that moment. The servants frantically called for a doctor. I did not spare him another glance, turned around, and walked straight away. The imperial wedding was celebrated by all. Before dawn had fully broken, Nurse Yang urged me to rise and dress for the ceremony. After bidding farewell to father, it should have been my elder brother carrying me to the bridal sedan. But the moment I leaned on his back, I sensed something wrong. Lifting my red veil, I saw my elder sister dressed in men's clothing. After half a year roaming outside, she had shed her impetuousness and become much more composed. I noticed a new scar on her brow bone. My elder sister comforted me, saying, "It's just a small injury. Brother knew you disliked him, so he sent a message asking me to return and see you off to your wedding." She asked softly, "Do you want me to carry you on my back?" I held back my tears and climbed onto her back again. I forced down the tears welling in my eyes and gently steadied myself on her back. My elder sister walked slowly, humming a tune I had never heard before. She said it was a lullaby our mother used to sing to her, and singing it to me today was as if Mother herself had come to see me off. Her steps were steady as she carried me all the way to the bridal sedan. The drums and swonas began to play, and the wedding procession slowly set off. My elder sister stood quietly by the roadside, watching the sedan grow smaller in the distance. The ceremony unfolded, from the ritual officers' chants to the Emperor and Empress walking hand in hand into the central palace. Later, the court historian recorded, "The Emperor and Empress shared deep affection. The red candles flickered all night long, and water was called for 3 times. Not long after the wedding, I found myself pregnant. The child in my womb was gentle, and the entire pregnancy passed smoothly and peacefully. After childbirth, I was carefully nursed back to health by several imperial physicians, so my body did not suffer much damage." Xiao Jingran was especially fond of children, unable to bear being apart from the crown prince for even a moment. Even with a mountain of state affairs piled up each day, he would have the prince sit on his knee while handling official business. Perhaps because the emperor clung to him daily, the eldest prince became unusually independent and sensible from the age of 1. By the time he was 3, he was already tired of his father. I had to get a cat for Xiao Jingran to carry around his company. Not long after, I became pregnant again and gave birth to a little princess. Her features bore a striking resemblance to the emperor, and we named her Xiao Wuyu. Xiao Jingran did everything himself, personally caring for her until she turned 5 before letting go. Time flew by, and both children grew up. Finding the palace stifling, Xiao Jingran and I went to the summer palace for a getaway. I had intended to acquire the estate I once owned in my previous life, but upon inquiring, I learned it had been converted into a school. Taking the opportunity, I paid a visit. The moment I looked up and saw my elder sister, my mind went blank for an instant. The twists of fate between past and present lives, truly unpredictable. My eldest sister introduced me to her many female disciples. Some had become female officials, some had started their own businesses, and some had found good husbands and settled down to manage their households. In short, each had her own way of living. As we were about to part, she suddenly spoke softly. "On the night of your grand wedding, I had a very long dream. In the dream, I married Pei Fong. He treated me with some gentleness, but the trivial matters of the inner household trapped me tightly within the 4 walls of the courtyard. The poetry and books I had studied so hard, the martial arts I had practiced day and night, none of them could be used. Day after day, I merely whiled away the time. I often felt lost, unable to discern the meaning of such a life. After waking from the dream, I searched for this place and established a school for girls." She looked at the young women studying in the courtyard, her eyes soft yet resolute. "Life is not just one path. I want to give them another choice." The end.